Good morning and welcome to Maximo Bite Size, a podcast on the functionality of Maximo Manage. Today is the 11th episode in the series on asset management, and we will be discussing asset downtime. Asset downtime is one of those features which you will find in the assets application but not in the locations application. You will also find that you can report downtime from the work order tracking and quick reporting applications. The actions and dialogues are almost the same as they are in the assets application, with small differences. In the assets application, at the bottom left corner of the main asset tab, is a downtime section with three fields which are all read-only: an indicator of the asset's up-down status, the status date when this change occurred, and the total downtime that has been accumulated by the asset. The report downtime action is used to either change status or to report downtime. The change status radio button is used to report downtime in real time as the asset status is changed from up to down or vice versa. You can modify the status date to reflect when the change occurred. It could have been earlier in the day. You can change the status date to a later date or time than time now, if you knew the asset was going to go down or back up at a specific time. When you are changing the status, or you might think of it more as changing the asset state, you can also enter a downtime code. By changing the status, you may find that the downtime hours have not been incremented. For the downtime hours to be calculated automatically, the asset needs a calendar and shift that has a work date at the date and time when the status changes are made. The calculation is made as the asset status is set to up. The hours will also be calculated if there is no calendar, but if the asset has a calendar but no shift, then Maximo assumes the asset is not operational and will not calculate downtime hours. The report downtime radio button is used to report downtime after the downtime event has occurred. Think of this like entering the downtime period with start date and time and end date and time at the same time. You are reporting the downtime that may have resulted in a work order being created, or you may be reporting the downtime that occurred while work was being performed. The Manage Downtime History action allows you to see when the asset state was changed and the downtime reporting that has been made either through the assets application or via a work order. For each record there is a downtime code at the start when the status is set to down, and a downtime code at the end when the status returns to an up state. The two downtime codes could be different. The Manage Downtime History dialog is looking at two records of the asset status table. All the fields are modifiable in this dialog, and you will find that there are some validations to ensure the start date cannot be later than the end date, or that one record dates cannot overlap another set of dates for the same asset. This is where you can adjust the downtime hours and whether it was operational or non-operational time. In the work order based applications, the Manage Downtime History dialog is a little different in that it only shows the downtime records for the work order. There could be multiple records, for example, a period marked as operational and a period marked as non-operational. In the Organizations application and work order options and the dialog for work type, you can determine whether a prompt for downtime should occur for each work type. This is a message to inform you if the asset is still down when completing or closing the work order. If you want the message to always be displayed, including for work orders that have no work type, then check the field Display Downtime Report Prompt upon WO completion for asset in a down status, which you will find under Other Organization options. At the top of this dialog, you can also determine how the downtime start date should be derived from the reported date, actual start date, or none. This sets the default for the additional fields that you see in the Report Downtime dialog in the work order tracking and quick reporting applications. In the work order based applications, you have the same two actions, report downtime and manage downtime history. In the report downtime dialog, there is an additional section called start date default, with a radio button for reported date, actual start date or none. As the section name suggests, the setting of the field determines how the start date is derived when the report downtime radio button is being used. None means that the start date is blank. End date is set to the current date and time, but can be modified and the hours will be recalculated. There is a system property, MXE, asset in user time zone, which if set will assume the asset exists in the user's time zone. If this is not set, it will use the server's time zone. When Maximo reviews the start date and end dates against the calendar and shift on the asset, then you really want the calculation of hours to be based on the time zone of the user who entered the downtime report or who marked the asset as being up, which calculates the downtime period. If you work across multiple time zones, then the property should be set to 1. Its default is 0 to preserve how it worked. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode when we will review failure codes and failure reporting. The music is called Busy City from the group called Track Tribe. Please check them out on tracktribe.com, all one word. Until another time, goodbye.